And I got a hold of Linda. I sent her a message, and I said, my daughter's in county. She has just been sentenced, but she hasn't been sent to prison yet. What can I expect? The whole 9 yards. And she sent me back an email that changed the way I thought about things. And she told me, she said, Sylvia, you have to realize that God loves your daughter way more than you could ever fathom. And that He has a plan for your daughter. And you have to trust Him through this. Because He wants even better things for her than you do. That was hard for me. I was like, what? It's the truth. Isn't it the truth? He loves Jordan way more than I could ever love Jordan, and I love her enough to change my whole life for her. And so that, to me, of the millions of people out there on the internet, or, let's just say the thousands of people who have ministries, I got in contact with her. How God always lets you know that He got it and this is His plan. Linda actually taught character classes in a prison. I found that out. And she only taught character classes in this one pod in the prison. And at this time, my daughter was still in county. Remember that. About a year later, my daughter on the phone goes, I'm starting character classes tomorrow with this lady named Linda. A year. So that's how He orchestrates our life. He goes before us, and He's like making things. So I had made contact with this lady a year before my daughter was sent into her classes. And because of that divine connection, Linda was able to pour more into my daughter because my daughter knew the story. And so who would have ever thought that me searching on the internet and finding one person would be somebody. And she actually got to spend about a year with her every Tuesday night. And during that time, I got more information about my daughter, because then Linda would leave the prison and say, I had this awesome talk with Jordan, and we talked about this. And Linda's still there today. My daughter's not in the pod anymore. She's moved on. And so I also believe that not only does God put us where we are for that day, He takes people out of our life when they're done. So it's just that example alone lets me know that He's got this. She's going to come out, and He's got this. So, anything else?
I have a question. It doesn't really have anything to do with drugs and alcohol, but I was wondering, do this full time. It's really easy, and I'm not to say that you trust in God, but what do you do? It's really easy to be okay, God, I give it to you, and then not really do anything, and just kind of. So how do you mix? How did you mix trusting in God, but also playing your role?
Playing my role. It's not as easy. It's not that easy, because what you do is you go, okay, God, I give it to you. Okay, now what do I need to do? I need to call her. I need to, it's really easy to say those words. It really is. How that plays out in my life, because I'm a doer. I'm going to go get it done. I do and I do and I do, and I hit brick walls and I hit brick walls. And it's not until I realize I am at the end of my rope, I'm emotionally exhausted, I can't do anymore, that God sort of taps me on the shoulder and says, why are you doing it? That's my job. And then usually when I submit to what God needs to do is when I'm totally exhausted and can't do it anymore. Why I haven't learned to just give it to Him in the first place, I'm learning that. And sometimes I think you have to go through it a couple times. So it's really easy to say, God, I give this to you. It's hard to walk it out, because that means every morning. Sometimes when I finally decided I can't do this and I'm going to give it, sometimes it's an hourly thing. It's like, oh yeah, I'm worried about that. That's not mine to worry about. I'm sorry. It's yours. Because, it says cast your burdens upon him. And sometimes I'm casting them all day long. Just, I can't worry about this. This is God's. This is God's. But I also have learned that until I get to that place where I recognize the fact that he is in charge, nothing happens, because it's him that is going to do it, and it's him that's going to get the glory for it. And if I would have done it, then who would have gotten glory? Than me. I can't, no, I don't, I want him to get all the glory. So sometimes I'm very stubborn, and that was a huge, great question, because, I'm doing a study right now in Joshua. There is this awesome website called Verse by Verse. It's just verse, X verse, and this guy teaches the Bible one verse at a time, and he sort of sounds like Seth Rogen. How do you say his last name? Rogen, the guy with the real raspy voice that's an actor. I don't know what this guy looks like. He just sort of sounds like him. Anyway, he's doing this study of Joshua, and he's, in Joshua is when children of Israel are going into their promised land, right? Which sort of signifies us going into what God has for us, and that's what the Bible study is all about. And the thing we studied last night was, after they got over to the promised land, instead of just taking it by force and going in and taking over Jericho and doing all this stuff, God had them do a couple things. And one of the things they had them do is remember where their past was and get rid of all that. Then they had all the guys circumcised. Here, woohoo, we're over here, we're going to take the land, but just a minute, you got to be circumcised. Well, what he put that to in the reference of our lives today is, once we win the victory, we still have to go back and forgive the past, and we have to cut off things of ourselves that are fleshly. And so then we have to realize he is totally in control, because there's the promised land, and the people are waiting for you to come, but he's the one that's going to tell you when it happens and when it doesn't happen. So it's been a really good study, because it's just right where I'm at. It's just because I really believe that through everything for the last 7 years that my family and I have gone through, we're at the end of our wilderness time. We're at our restoration time, and that's why I'm so excited. Is because I see when this all happened, my family blew up like a bomb, and one of my daughters was over here, and my other daughter was over here, and my ex-husband was over here, and I was over here, and we were all hurting and wounded and walking around like zombies. And what I've seen in the last 7 years is circumstances have brought us back together, and now that we are back together, not so much the ex-husband, but it's going to come, he'll get there, or God will get him there. But my family, my children, and I have just like this really close-knit, closer than ever before. And I really believe that we have climbed out of the trenches, and we're ready for the good things in this. And bringing her home is just going to be the icing on the cake of bringing us back to, because we were a family that was going to be together until forever. And we were going to be a testament for other families, and we probably still will be, you know what I'm saying, in the end. So giving it all to God, I get into a little preaching there. So, I encourage you guys, I really, because I'm going to psychology classes right now, I know right where you're at, and you're learning so much, and you're in a really, really good place in your life to just really let God lead you into where your future is. And I just encourage you guys, and thanks for letting me come to your class.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned that you're doing the Bible study, and obviously you're a church probably. Is there anything else you do for your own recovery from this?
Yes.
If you're willing to share. I mean, I know sometimes that's anonymous, but...
I basically have learned through this that I have to give myself pleasure and time to just relax. And so I hit the beach anytime I can. I've been on a cruise just to get to the beach. But I have to set up a quiet time. I mean, right now I'm not really going to counseling, if that's what you're asking.
I just wanted you to share what you want to share.
I just know that every day I have to add into here. something. If it's a scripture, if it is a bubble bath, if it is sitting talking to a best friend, I have to add into myself every day. Hanging out with my grandkids is like the hugest recovery ever, because these little guys love you no matter what. My name is Ro Gubby. I'm not grandma, I'm called Ro Gubby. That's I know, one of my grandsons gave me that name, so that's what I'm called. And I have, I have what's called Camp Ro Gubby, and I will send out an email, Camp Ro Gubby's open, bring them over. We do crafts and cook and do all that kind of stuff. And I just enjoy life, and I make sure that on a daily basis, I feed my spirit man and my emotional person. And I have contemplating, now that I'm a little healthier, I'm going to like Celebrate Recovery or something. I'm also writing a book, you know. I am writing a book because there are so many steps that I've learned along this way I mean, really honestly, I shouldn't be here from everything. You know, there's people that haven't made it through half of what I've made it through in the last 7 years. And I'm just glad that not only did I not only make it through, but I helped people the whole time. I never stopped adding into people. And I didn't do that, because when you're empty, you can't give to other people. So what was really happening is I was just an empty vessel, really an empty vessel, that he was able to function through. And I just and now that I'm feeling a little healthier, sometimes I fill up that vessel and get in God's way. So I'm learning to sort of keep it empty a little so he can still function through me. So
That's awesome.
anyway, thanks for letting me know.
And we also, first of all, I had to restrain myself because I wanted to come up and give you a hug in the middle of that, because
Thank
I
you.
hadn't heard that part
Thanks.
about your grandson. I've got kids and grandkids, and I've got a daughter who could very well have ended up in prison.
Yeah.
I should have been dead too.
Right.
It's just, as a part of the gratitude from the class, we want to give you a Starbucks.
Yay, Star's my favorite.
And even if you don't like coffee, they have this stuff called refreshers that I love.
Do
And
they?
I'm addicted to it, but it's like a soft drink, but it's got the
Awesome,
caffeine.
awesome.
Anyway, I just wanted to thank you
Thank you.
so much. I ran into her over at the Quick Shop the other day, and I thought of her all along. I thought, when is she scheduled? And I don't think you were scheduled, because
No.
you came last time, I think, to had normal class. So I'll probably ask you to come back to that class next semester.
Sure, anytime you need me.
But we'll,
And my story will probably be different.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, oh my gosh, you just knocked me down this time, because I knew how awesome it was last time.